Test 1, 2. Just checking to make sure we are good today.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, everybody can hear me. Well, turn my hat around, right? All right, let's get this party started. How y'all doing today? So happy you could join today, Mr. Ray and Minority Real Estate Millionaires. We are here to help you become a millionaire if that's possible. Do you think that's possible? I think it's possible. It happened to me, it can happen to you. So today we're going to be talking about how can we get the house under contract. We're talking about wholesaling now. And remember, wholesaling is where you make the quick money. Wholesaling is if you don't have money, this is one way that you can get in the game without any money. But it's not easy. It is not easy. It's hard, and it takes time, it takes patience, and it takes persistence. So today I want to talk to you about the whole idea about how do we get the house under contract. So let's talk about that. Let's skip that. We're not going to do Rayism today. We want to talk about how we get the property under contract. And then also we're going to talk about the homework that we had last week. So let's get right into it. So getting the property under contract. This is key. Getting to yes, getting the seller to sell you the property. And so we're going to assume at this point that you have followed up on some leads that you have generated, either by putting out signs, either by riding around looking at different properties, or else you just are sending out postcards. However you get prospective wholesalers on the deal. Now you got to get the property under contract. So what's the first thing we want to do? So what you want to do is be able to offer the seller a win-win proposition. How is it that they're going to win by selling you their house at a discount? How are they going to win? You need to be able to explain that to them. And then also, you need to be able to run the numbers, which is what we've been talking about. How do you figure the ARV and how do you figure your maximum allowable offer? We've ran those numbers and we'll be going over those, that homework assignment, but it's very, very key that you run the numbers before you talk to the customer or the seller to make sure that you know exactly what you can offer on this property. If you can, you need to get access to the property so you can assess the condition of the property so you can make a proper determination on what repairs are needed so that you can put that into your calculation as you run your maximum allowable offer. Make the offer, baby. You can't do any deals if you're not making offers. You have to put a sheet of paper in front of them and get them to get their signature on there for you to be able to get that house under contract. Once you get that offer made, now you got to get that property signed. So what I find that's happened to me a number of times is if you give uh, a seller an offer, and if you say, okay, well, I'm going to give you a day or two to think about it and get back with, no, that's not what you want to do because you're giving them an opportunity to get out of the deal. You want to get that contract signed as soon as feasible, as soon as possible, because you don't want to give them an opportunity to think about, well, maybe I can get a little bit more money out of him, or maybe I can, no. You get your maximum offer in there and you get that contract signed. So what is the win-win proposition that you're going to be offering these particular sellers? First of all, the seller needs to know that you are a serious buyer. So how do you demonstrate that you're a serious buyer, Mr. Ray? Well, first of all, you have to talk the talk. You have to talk like you know what you're talking about, right? Asking the right questions, responding the right way. And if needed, maybe the seller wants to say, well, how do we even know you have the funds to even close this deal? Well, you got to be able to give them a source of funds to show them that you have proof of funds that you can buy this property. All right. So they need to know that you're serious and offer to provide them proof of funds. A proof of funds is simply a letter from the bank or from any financial institution that says this is the amount of money that you have available in cash. Okay, and so as you say, well, Mr. Ray, I don't have that proof of funds. Well, if you work with me, you'll have that proof of funds. I can provide that to you. So part of the things that a seller wants to know, they want to know that you have the ability to sell this house. Now, even though as a wholesaler, you're going to be looking at trying to sell it to somebody else, the seller wants to know, first of all, that you can buy that property. And a lot of times they don't want to know, or let me put it this way, you really don't want them to know that you're going to sell that property right off the bat. You want them to know, to think that you're buying that property, and you need to be able to be in a position to show that you can purchase that property. Then you got to be willing to deal with their objections. Why should I sell the property to you? Why are you making me such a low offer? Why would I want to sell the property to you? These are all things that you have to be able to answer correctly. The reason why you should sell it to me at a discount, Mr. Seller, is because, first of all, it needs extensive repairs. And I'm assuming that if you had the money to do that, you would have already done that. Also, be aware that you got maintenance that you have to continue to have on this property. You got taxes, you got insurance. All those things are going to go away if you sell me this property. So you got to think along those terms, talk like that, and say, hey, it's really to your benefit to sell me this property because I'm going to take this headache off your hand and I'm going to give you some cash. Okay. So you got to be able to tell them, hey, look, if we can't come to a deal, I understand. I'm not here to try to steal your house from you. I'm simply here to make the best offer that I can make based on the condition of this property. So these are conversations that you're having and you're going back and forth, sometimes trying to convince the seller to sell you the property. A lot of times the properties that we're looking at, and you have to keep telling them, look, this property needs a new roof. It's going to need a whole new bathroom, kitchen, the whole 9 yards. And it's going to cost a lot of money. Do you have that money, sir, ma'am, to do that? In most instances, they don't. So you need to keep hammering on that point that, hey, this property is going to need, it's going to take a lot of money to get this property up to date. And then if you're dealing with a foreclosure property, you can tell them, hey, look, this is going to be a win-win-win for you because I'm going to be able to buy this property for cash. I'm going to take it off your hand, and that foreclosure is not going to be on your credit, right? And that's huge. That's a big reason why you want to be able to get these deals done because you're helping them. You're helping them. You're solving a problem. You are an opportunistic person, but you're here to solve their problem. Okay. And if the property, let's say the property is behind on taxes, well, you're going to help save the property from being, because if the county comes and takes that property for taxes, guess what? They're not going to have anything. The house goes, they're gone, everything they had is gone, and the county now will own that property. And then just keep reiterating, I'm taking the property as is, no cost to you, no closing costs, no nothing. I am here to help you. This is a win-win situation. All right. So this is very, very important piece of the wholesale conversation that you're having with these individuals because they need to know that you're serious. Any questions on that? No questions. All right. So let them know this is win-win, baby. If you sell me this property, it's a win for you and it's a win for me because I am getting the property at a discount, but I do have to do significant repairs to it. So that's why I'm getting it at a discount. All righty, let's go to the next step. This is, again, a very, very important piece of the wholesale business. You have to run the numbers. You have to determine what that after repair value is, and you have to know for sure what that maximum allowable offer, because you don't want to offer too much and then you turn around and you can't sell it for that much. All right. So you get in the game now, you can't sell the property for what you have offered the seller. Now you can't get a buyer. Let's say you offer them 90, you can't get a buyer to give you 100,000 for it. They want to give you 90, they want to give you 80. That's not a good position to be in. Now you got a contract really that's worthless because nobody's going to be able to take that property off your hand. And when I'm running the numbers, I like to be really, really conservative to ensure that I maximize my profit potential. So what I'll do a lot of time when I run my maximum allowable offer, I'll make sure I don't give them that offer up front. I'll even start lower than that. If I know my maximum allowable offer is 60,000, I'll probably start at 50,000 and then work my way up to 60. Okay. So I want to be conservative and I want to maximize my profit. And when you're making some guesstimates on the repairs based on the pictures or the drive by the property, just be real careful there, because a lot of times if you don't get to actually go into the property, then you may not understand the full extent of the repairs that need to be done. So, but you can make a guesstimate. You can assume based on how the property looks on the outside, you can say conservatively it's going to cost $30,000-$40,000 to fix this house up inside and out. So just make sure that your guesstimates, that you're using a conservative guesstimate. And then prepare an offer sheet. I like to have this offer sheet with me when I go to visit the seller, because this is going to have all the information about the property: how many bedrooms, how many baths, how many square feet, when was it built, how many times it's been up for sale. All that particular information you should have on a sheet right before you, so you can go and you can know and you can answer questions about the property uh, that the uh, that the seller might have. Again, make sure you understand everything about that property: rooms, bedrooms, what kind of neighborhood it's in, what's the location. All that good stuff is going to help you to prepare, again, your maximum allowable offer based on what you know about that property. And what I also like to do is make sure that I do a quick ownership view, which means I want to go to the county records and I want to see, am I talking to the individual that actually owns this property? You don't want to negotiate with anybody but the owner. You can say, well, I'm talking to the wife. That's all well and fine. When you do the deal, when you're talking, making an offer, that offer, the name that's going to be on that contract is going to be the owner of that property. So you make sure that you are talking to the owner. Any questions on that? All right, let's keep going. So, how do we assess the condition of the property? Well, you assess the condition of the property by asking the seller to let you come by and take a look at the property. So let's say you got the seller on the phone and you're talking and he's telling you a little bit about the property. You want to make an appointment to go see that property physically. You want to lay your eyes on it. You want to go inside. You want to look at it, because that's going to help you determine the full extent of the repairs that's needed on that property. So you need to physically view the property. You need to see it. You need to know exactly what it looks like. Take pictures while you're there. Do a video of the property, because now you'll have that information to take back, and you can go back and do another walkthrough on your video to make sure that you didn't miss anything. So it's very, very important. Take videos and take pictures of the property when the owner allows you, gives you the opportunity to get there. And as you're walking around talking to the owner about the property, you're noticing things. Ask questions. Or when the roof was repaired, or do you know when the central heat and air unit was repaired? I see there's some new carpet over here. Can you tell me? Just asking questions so you can get as much information as possible about this property. And then what I like to do is look for deal killers. Now, what are deal killers? These are things that are significant repairs that will really cost more money than you probably willing to put into a property. A lot of times, if the foundation has significant foundation issues, you can see cracks in the walls, you can see cracks on the outside of the bricks. Those are sometimes, if it's an older home, you expect some of that. But if it's significant and the house is leaning to the side, I mean, those are some areas that you might not want to deal with from a wholesale standpoint. If it's got significant mold issues, it got termites, those are all things that I'm going to look at and say, I may or may not want to do this property based upon these deal killers, is what I call them. Okay. And then have a copy of a purchase agreement with you and be prepared for that owner. If you can go ahead and make that offer right there, your maximum allowable offer, he agrees to that. You need to have a purchase agreement right there. No, well, wait, Mr. Seller, I need to run home and I need to put it together. No, you don't have time for that. You need to show up with all your paperwork right there, ready to sign that contract. And on a purchase agreement, it does not need to be notarized. Okay. So if you sign a purchase agreement with a seller, it does not need to be notarized. Don't leave without getting the signed contract. If at all possible, don't leave until you get that signed contract. Okay. It's very, very important that you get to yes quickly. Any questions?
I got a question, Mr. Ray.
Yeah.
On the signed contract, do you already so if you're looking at the price, do you already kind of have it pre-filled with the price? Do you carry like a couple copies with different prices? Does that kind of make sense? Or is
I
that just
leave the price not filled out. I have everything else filled out but the price.
but the price? Okay.
Yeah. Good question. Any other question? All right. So make the written offer to the seller. Prepare a written contract. Be ready to go. Like I said, have everything in there but the number. And I'll show you a contract that I use that we use when we're making offers on properties for wholesale. So have that already prepared. Be prepared to negotiate, right? But never start your negotiations at your maximum allowable offer. Always start a little lower than that. Okay. And then again, make sure you're answering all the seller's objections. Whatever he's objecting to, make sure you got an answer to it. And remember, I talked about that win-win. You're just trying to create a win-win-win scenario where you get the house that you want at the price you want, and the seller is getting a reasonable price for their property based upon the condition of that property. And then at the end of the day, just be prepared to walk away. If the seller, if they're trying to get market value for a wholesale property, I mean, they're asking, they say, well, I need to get 200,000. The property clearly ain't worth but 50,000. Sometimes you just got to walk away. Some people are unreasonable. They have unreasonable expectations about their home. And so sometimes you just have to walk away. And many times you're going to walk away. Most of the properties that you see, you're going to make offers on them. They're not going to accept them. This is a numbers game. 90% of the properties that you review, you're not going to get a contract. It's only that 10% that you're going to get that contract on. Okay. Any questions on making that written offer? All right. Once you got the offer, baby, now you got to find a cash buyer, right? And where are we going to find some cash buyers at, Mr. Ray? Well, you can identify other people who are rehabbing houses in the area. These are probably people that are looking to buy property. These rehabbers, you're looking at flippers, you're looking at buy and hold people like myself. I mean, just build a list of people that you know are buying properties. There's people out there all the time trying to buy those properties. So you just want to build your list and then market it. I mean, put your little marketing thing together, about the property, showing, what the ARV is, what the repairs are, the nice neighborhood. I mean, make it desirable that somebody would want to buy that property from you, because now you got 30 some days to get that property sold, right? To wholesale it for more than what you have it under contract for. And then get that contract assigned to a cash buyer, close the deal, and collect your money at closing, baby. That all that sound easy. It's not easy, but those are the steps that you have to take in order to get a good wholesale deal. Any questions? All right. All right. So now let me stop right here. See if there's any questions before we go to review the homework. So that's all we're going to do as far as the wholesale piece of the business. Now, I took that. That's 4 weeks. This is the 4th week that we've done the wholesale piece. The biggest piece is the ARV, the MAO, and the other biggest piece is making sure that you get that property to contract. And that's what we talked about today. All right, so let's see, what are we going to do here? Let's go to the homework. Now I got a little pet peeve I'm gonna talk about here a little bit. So here's the homework. Homework was for 2154 Carlton Way. This is one of the wholesale properties that I'm close to getting, and so I needed you guys to help me figure out what the ARV and the MAO was. So you can see what I came up with. I came up with 264. And if you're in the green, then you came close to my 264. If you're in the yellow, then you're close, but still didn't exactly get there. But if you're in the green, those are going to be good ARVs using me as the threshold. So that's kind of what we can. If your name is on here and you don't see any numbers, that means that you did not send in the homework. Okay. And so 2 things. One, if you are paying customers, you're not required to do the homework. So I don't have an issue with that, but I don't know how you're going to get better if you don't do the homework. If you're on scholarship, then I expect you to do the homework. So if you didn't turn in the homework this time and you're on scholarship, that means you're free. I'm giving this to you for free. You're either coming in through the church or I'm just giving it to you through the scholarship. I expect you to do the homework. And so if your name is on here and you didn't do the homework and you're on scholarship or you're free, you're going to get one more time not to do the homework, and then you're not going to be invited anymore, because that is your payment. Your payment is you're to be engaged. You're to make sure that you do the homework. That's the only way that you're going to learn this stuff. Okay. If you're paying and you don't want to do the homework, hey, that's on you. But the only way you're ever going to get better is do the homework. So let's look at my numbers, and I'm gonna give you guys and girls an opportunity to ask some questions. So here are my comps that I use, and I don't know if any of you all use any of these comps or you have some different comps. So ask some questions around this homework so that if you didn't get it close enough, maybe you need to ask some questions, or Mr. Ray, maybe I didn't do this or do that. So what questions do you have?
I have a 2-part question, Mr. Ray. This is Darren. So for the square footage, I noticed that 3 of yours exceed the square footage. Is that okay?
I'm sorry, say it again, Darren.
Okay, you have 3 that exceed the square footage. Um, and so is there a plus or minus that's okay with exceeding the square footage?
Yeah, I mean, you just don't want to get more than 100 or 200 square feet away from what your subject property is. So you just want to get as close as you can. Sometimes you're not going to get, right on it, but just trying to get as close as you can.
And then my other question, it seems like Um, you went past the mile. So did you do 5 mile radius on this one for these other houses?
I'm sorry, say again. I didn't hear you, Darren. I'm sorry.
What's the mile radius that you did on these houses for
I
this
did a
one?
mile, one
Did a
mile.
mile?
Yeah. You
Okay.
didn't find anything within a mile?
No, I found uh two of these. I found every one of these houses, but I used different houses. So it's okay. I see my error. I
Okay.
used the ones with the square footage. It was the square footage they got.
Okay. Let's see. Well, Darren, you came in at 236. Yeah, it's about 30,000 away. Any other questions? This is the key part of doing wholesaling. You have to be very, very good at doing this. Figuring out what the ARV is and figuring what the maximum allowable offer is. Again, if your name is on here and you don't see any numbers, that means you didn't turn in the homework. I'm putting you out there, putting you on blast that you didn't turn in the homework, and so therefore, how you gonna get better? How you gonna get better unless you practice? Are we talking about practice? Yes, we talking about practice. The only way you get better is practice. All right, I'm through fussing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Um, can I give you one of the houses I picked, and can you tell me what I did wrong? Because like I'm one of those. I was like in the two. Looks like I might have been the lowest one too.
Okay.
And I'm struggling trying to figure out where I went wrong.
All right, let's do this. Let's go look at the house. All right. What's the address?
So I did. One of them was the 2100 Fremont Drive.
Fremont.
Uh, Fremont. Yes, sir.
Is that okay? All right, and so let's see this one. Let's go to. I want to do. Hold on. Yeah, we'll just look at it on here on Trulia. Okay, so what's your question? This one right here. This one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the one you use. Let's look and see.
Because I noticed like I might have been nitpicking. So for example, like the house that you're looking at getting, like I noticed that it had like the garage that was actually split as well. And so I was looking at kind of like particulars like that to see if that might make a difference.
If the garage is split, no. Now it would make a difference if it's a 1 car versus a 2 car.
Okay.
But if it's split, no. Yeah, now this is a decent property. Let's see, 234. A little bit on the low side. I would say this would be okay, but there were other properties. Again, we're always looking for the properties that are on the high side of the ARV because we're assuming that whoever buys this property is going to take it all the way up to the highest.
Okay.
You got another one that you use?
And this one, let me see. And then I ended up using like the 2154 Barclay Road, which I know that one ended up coming in at 175,000 at like a little over 1,200 square feet, which, because I ended up actually struggling even finding like houses that I thought was good because I went way under. And then the other one I did was a little over square footage at 1,800.
Okay. Yeah, this one is smaller, right?
Yes, sir. At 12, 1,200-ish.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me go back to mine. So if you see all of mine are 1,700, 1,700. There's one that was 1,400, but most of them are right around that 1,600, 1,700. So 1,200 square feet would that would have been one that would have been an outlier that you shouldn't have used.
Okay.
Just because the square footage is is 400 square feet different from your subject property. Again, this is not it's not a science, it's an art. So you just have to go through and just pick the best properties that you can that you really feel like are going to fit the bill.
Mr. Ray,
Yeah.
just a quick question. Which website did you find all your properties on Redfin, and how would it be to use a combination of properties from Redfin and from Trulia or whatever? Is that frowned upon?
No, you can do that. I like Redfin because it's just everything is right there, right? So if you go to Zillow and try to do what I do on Redfin, it won't do it, right? When you want to do everything on the map. So let's do this.
No, I was just wondering because I use Redfin too, and I didn't see those properties that were around the price range that you.
All right,
I had one of them, but not the other three. I was trying to make sure I got the ones that were the same sort of square footage, and the ones I found were a little bit higher, like 1,800 square feet.
Okay.
But it still ended up being lower.
Let's just go through and let me do this real quick. Let's just go and look. So 2154 Carlton Way. Let's do this. 2154 Carlton Way, Redfin. All right, so we go to Redfin. There's our property. Redfin says it's 279, and we came up with what? I came up with 264, 27. So that's in the ballpark. Let's do this. So let's scroll down and get all the properties in that area again. So again, you want to go down to recently sold. Make sure you see that, right? Yeah. So let's look at those, and so we get all those on the map. So you can see that's a large area. Again, I like to put the minimum around 250. And then let's go in. And remember, we wanted to stay within a mile, right? So what was our mile? Let's see. Where's our subject property again? Hold on. Let me go back and see where our subject property is. 2154 Carlton. So our subject property is in between Penn Yes, it's in between Penn and May and Hefner and Britton, right? So that's where we're looking at properties at. So let's do this. So here's the properties. Let me look at my properties again. So here's one for 250. Let me go back and get mine, pull those up so we can look at those.
I think I saw your trick that you where it was confusing for me. I didn't do the minimum, and I wasn't able to see all those since there were so many homes sold in that area. I probably just couldn't see all the ones that were around that price range. So absolutely. I think you answered it for me.
So okay, all right. Anybody else got any other questions? So you can see there's 280 there. There's another 280. 280 over there, 267, 250. Any other questions? We're gonna do one more lesson. We're gonna do one more homework assignment. Okay. So yeah, so the trick is when you first click on it, it's gonna bring up everything in that area, right? So all the recently sold homes in that area, there's a gazillion of them. So that's way too many to look at. And that's why, like I said, I try to make sure that that you put a minimum in there. I mean, you can put a minimum of 2 and get rid of a lot of stuff. So
Hey, Ray, I got a question. Can you hear me?
yeah.
Uh, I did this and I was torn between a house that I saw within that square mile, I guess,
Uh-huh.
that was ranging around 269, 264. And so my fourth house, I did 4 houses in comparison. Fourth house was for 345,000. And I went torn back and forth for one day to determine which one of these should I send in because I don't know which one would be right. So and you said I was in the green, so I was a few
Yeah.
$1,000s more than what you came up with.
Yep.
I guess I was just kind of curious as to whether or not I was stretching it too much to look for a house that was 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2 car, 1963 square feet, but it was for 345,000. And probably if I'd have put the other one 260 something, 269, I would have gotten a little bit closer than maybe what you got to versus the 270.
But you were close enough though. See,
Oh,
again,
okay.
it's not this gotta be exact. You just gotta be within $10,000 to $20,000. Because even when the appraiser comes out, his number is gonna be different from ours. You just want to be close.
You said close within how many
$10,000
thousand?
to $20,000 on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you're talking about $200,000 house, you just want to be within $10,000 to $20,000.
Maybe that's what I forgot or just didn't know. Okay, that's a good thing.
Okay, good. Yeah, your number was a good number.
All right, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? As you can see, if you look at their May, if you go over May, you see how these houses jump in price. That's why you don't want to get over. Because here's one for 600,000. You can't use that. I mean, these houses are a lot bigger over here, so you want to stay within this mile. And if you go on the other side, you can see there's one over here for 569. I mean, that looks like that was just land though. But anyway, you want to stay in there. If you got some good comps in there, just stay with those. Any other questions? All righty. So next, let's go back to, so we did homework. All right. So here's the here's the next homework. It's going to be, this is a property that that I'm getting ready to sell. It's 305 22nd Avenue Northeast in Norman. It's a 3 bed, 2 bath, 2 car, 1,400 square feet. And we're going to assume that it needs $25K in repairs and that there's a $10,000 assignment fee. Okay. So this property is in Norman. Again, 305 22nd Avenue Northeast. I currently own this property. I now have the property on the contract. I'm selling it. So I'm selling it without doing any repairs to it though. Just selling it as is. So I want you to figure out the person that's selling this, that's buying this property, what they can expect the ARV to be. And if they were buying the property from me from a wholesale standpoint, what would their maximum allowable offer would have been to me? Any questions? All right, let's see. So here's where you're mailing. Oh, got the wrong date on there. So it's going to be due by next Tuesday. Next Tuesday is going to be the date of the 3rd, August the 3rd. Okay. So it's not the right date. August the 3rd is when it'll be due. So send it to me and to Tiffany. Quickly, I'll review. Let's look at the contract on a property that I just sold.